Hey Lego fans, let's take a look inside the Blocks book of retro Lego sets, Castle, Pirates and Space. This is the fastest selling magazine that we've ever produced, so it's a really popular volume and I'd like to take you inside the Blocks book of retro Lego sets, give you an idea of what's within this special edition magazine so that you can decide if it's a copy that you want to get yourself. It's available now at blocksmag.com and it's absolutely packed with nostalgic Lego sets. It's all about vintage, retro, classic, however you want to label it, the stuff that we grew up with in the 1980s and 1990s. Now, one of the features we've got is a look back at classic space, and this deep dives into the entire theme. It goes through the different sets that were part of it, it goes through the way that Lego approached the design of these sets, how they differ, the different classifications of sets. It just delves really deep into everything that you want to know about the theme that just captured children's imaginations at a time when space exploration was the big, exciting thing that was going on in the world. We also have these set spotlights where we dive into particular Lego sets. So this is where we'll take something from Castle, Space, or Pirates, just focus on that set, say what's cool about it, remember some of the interesting facts and features about it, show you a nice picture of it, so you can just get those warm feelings that you got when you built this set yourself, or maybe stared at pictures of it in a catalogue. Because I don't know about you, but for me, the sets that I just stared at for ages in the page of the catalogue, they are almost as important to me as the ones that I actually owned. It's a funny thing. You forget as a child how much bored time you spent looking at these images on posters and in magazines and things. And then we look at a minifigure tribute to Captain Redbeard. So we talked to Marcus Roebuller from Lego Design and Stuart Harris from Lego House, and they tell us how they took that minifigure that we all love, that very trailblazing minifigure with a peg leg and a hook for a hand and a new face print, and they made him into a set that's exclusive to Lego House in Billund, Denmark. And it's really interesting because we dive into the history of the minifigure a little bit, looking at how it came about, how it got approved back in the day, but then obviously how these guys scaled him up, how these guys thought about the heritage and history when they were working on him. And it's really interesting to get those insights from these really talented, creative people. But space pirates, they're not the only thing that gets some love. We also deep dive into Castle. We go through the different factions through the years. We look at how it evolved from that charming yellow castle that Daniel August Krentz designed through to amazing different castles through the years that were grey, black, that had fantastical elements, that had different raised base plates, flat base plates, all the different things that came and went with Castle. We dive into it all. Whether it's Lion Knights, Black Falcon Knights, Dragon Knights, Royal Knights, all of the different, Forest Guardians. How can you forget those guys? We get into all of it. We really look at how Castle evolved through the years. And again, it's just such a nice walk down memory lane. We don't just have interviews with the guys behind the Lego House exclusive set. We also talked to Mike Siaki about bringing back the Galaxy Explorer. We also talked to Milan Maj about bringing back the Lion Knights in Lion Knights Castle. We talked to the guys behind Pirates of the Barracuda Bay. There's loads of interviews with Lego designers in this magazine. It's a really cool way to get insights into how modern Lego designers grew up with these classics themselves and loved them, and how they're influenced by them, but also what their design process is, how they go about making these modern models, and how they think about imbuing them with nostalgia. So my favorite interview in this particular issue is with Niels Milan Pedersen. Niels is the longest serving member of the Lego design team. He has been there since 1980, and his story is absolutely fascinating. He's always very generous to Blocks, and I'm very lucky that he's always happy to talk to us and share his stories because he's got so many good ones. And in this one, he talks about all sorts of different things. He talks about designing the original horse and reveals what's wrong with it. He talks about talking to Godfred Kirk Christensen and trying to persuade him to let him put certain things in Lego Pirates that the owner of the Lego group at the time was uncomfortable with. He talks about getting the job there in the first place and turning up at Legoland when he was supposed to be turning up at Lego headquarters. He's got so many good stories. They're so much fun. And we get into all of it with him. This is the guy who designed your childhood, and he's telling all these stories about what it was like working at the Lego Group back in the day, back when it wasn't this massive, massive organization that it is now, back when everyone knew each other on first name terms and things, back at a time when they were still defining what things were. Like the minifigure was still relatively new back then. So they were figuring out what these sets should be. And if you look at modern Lego sets, they've got all the advances they have when it comes to techniques, parts, the sophistication of the designs, but the essential ingredients, the ideas that are still the core of Lego sets today, were defined at this point in time. When they introduced the minifigure, when they created Castle, Space Town, and then Pirates, that's when they were basically codifying what Lego sets would be, for the next 45 years. And then, of course, like I say, we've got the deep dive into space, deep dive into castle, where we're going through the whole theme. Same for pirates. Go through the theme, look at the elements, the sets, the minifigures, look at what made it special, look at all of the different aspects of it, and how it has made this indelible impression on an entire generation who still love Lego bricks today. You know, the reason we all love Lego, the reason it means so much to us, is because we grew up with space, castle, pirates. These nostalgic themes have given us a lifelong passion for something. And it's so nice just to have a 132-page magazine. It's essentially a book that is entirely focused on these things. And you can get your copy of the Blocks Book of Retro Lego Sets at blocksmag.com. I really hope you enjoy it because we love this magazine. It's a really dear one to us. We put so much work and passion into it. It collects some of our favorite articles from through the years in Blocks magazine. So it's something really different, really special. And it is just absolutely chock full of nostalgia from the very front cover right through to the last page. And if you grow up with these themes, I really do think you'll get a kick out of it. So go to the website, check it out, order a copy, or take out a subscription to Blocks. We make a new magazine every single month, 116 pages of Lego content that you can't find online. You can't get it anywhere else. And it gives you a way to break away from the screen for a while and delve into something tangible, sit and hold a paper thing in the same way that you use those tangible Lego instructions to tangibly build a Lego set. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel here as well, so you do keep up with the videos that we create if you do need that fix of some screen time.